Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my deck guide series. Today I'll be doing a ladder edition. This is the deck that I used to get to 5K last season. I really like it. I think it's good for it's more optimal for players who don't have like max cards, obviously, which most of us don't. So on the right where you can see my battle deck that I have it on the overlay, those are the levels that I had when I got to 5K. And I'm a level 11 account. As you can see in the top left, I'm soon to be getting to level 12 from all my Grand Challenge wins. And the replays from today are from today. And my card levels are actually higher now. So I have level 13 minions, which I didn't have then, and I have level 13 zap, which I didn't have then. And then I have yet to upgrade my ice spirit because I don't have enough gold yet, and I don't really think it's all that worth it yet. But after this video, I'll probably hit level 12 and I'll start upgrading as much as possible. Obviously, this deck incorporates more commons in it than a normal deck that I would for challenge because my commons are higher levels because commons are the easiest to level up. So, but it's a hog deck instead of like a rule giant deck or something. And so here are the matches I had with it today. I started at 4,500 today. I think I lost on stream yesterday too. Oh yeah, I gave up because that game was over leveled. But anyway, and then I won like what 5 straight with it today. So, and I'm up to almost 4,700, which is pretty nice considering the season's pretty fresh and it's harder to climb. I should be able to get past 5,000 again this season and probably get to like 5,100 hopefully or higher. So let's show. I think the first match I'll show will be the balloon deck, yeah. And then I'm going to show all the replays past that. But an important thing to note is if you were going to run this deck in challenges or if you have max cards, I would switch out archers for musketeer. And I would consider putting in cannon for elite barbs because you don't necessarily have to have elite barbs. Although I really do like them because they're OP right now and you kind of do want to take them. But if you don't like elite barbs so much, you can switch elite and you like having more of a cycle deck. Although this deck is pretty cycly, you can still trade the elite barbs for a cannon or a tombstone. And then I do like musketeer over archers, but for ladder purposes, it's better to have obviously a level 13 common than a level 9 rare. But everything else up with the deck is pretty mainstay. Minions are really good with Hog. They can go down the middle and help take out a defense, and they're also just a solid defense in their own right. And yeah, so I think they work really well in this deck. Also, they distract Infernos and all that jazz. So to start off, we will show this is actually a deck similar to what I did. Like I said, though, he has Tesla instead of he has Tesla instead of a different defense, which isn't awful, but actually, Tesla, with the rise of like so many air decks, Tesla could be decent as opposed to like Cannon because it actually does something against air defenses. That was kind of a stupid start for me. I should have fireballed that minion. But yeah, so here's where I figure out that he's actually running a balloon deck. Fortunately, my archers plus my minions were enough to take out the balloon. So my deck is actually pretty good against balloon because I have both minions, archers, and my spells and ice spirit. And here, even though he gets Tesla down in time, my archer gets a bunch of chip damage and my ice golem gets a hit in and he gets to explode as well. That archer just did so much damage by herself. And here, if my ice spirit was level 13, I actually would have used it on the archers instead, but I ended up using zap because my ice spirit is level 12. Although I will say Ice Spirit does really well against Balloon, so it wasn't the worst thing holding it here. The thing to do is, yeah, you place the minions directly on the Balloon, and that was a pretty bad freeze for him. But even if he had Zap to kill the minions instead, it wouldn't have done anything because I still had archers up, and I had Fireball Zap, so. I decided not to Zap there because the Ice Golem was about to explode, and that would take care of the skeletons. And by holding on to Zap there, it also keeps me at a 2 elixir lead because it's a spell that I didn't need to use. So I'm at a 2 elixir lead, like I said. Actually, it's like a 2.5, 3. It's kind of weird. But here, since I'm up so much and I know I'm up at this point, I decide just to split elite barbs at the back. Since he hasn't done much damage to either tower, he can always decide to switch lanes. And this also prompts him to use his defense, which is nice for me because now he won't have the defense and rotation for the hog. And that's why I decided to fireball here. I actually missed the tower by accident. I was also trying to predict him using archers, but I was a little bit off. But the reason I did it still stays the same. So here, once again, Ice Spirit, minions, archers really good. Even if the tower hadn't finished it off there, yeah, that's why I zapped. Actually, I thought the tower wasn't going to finish it off, so I went ahead and zapped. It's not too bad. I actually did kind of mess up the defense a little bit, and but I knew he was gonna rotate back to Tesla, so I tried to rush with the elite barbs and zap for the skeletons, but I didn't get through. For my next push, so I took out the archers. It's a -1 elixir trade, but I don't really need a big push at this point, so that's why I took the fireball there. And then here, same defense I've been doing. Occupy, and then make sure you space out your units so that he can never freeze both of them. And then I'm gonna do the same thing I did earlier, except this time I'm gonna add in fireball. Okay, I didn't throw down elite barbs, I just threw down fireball, which is fine. So the purpose of that right there is I already have the elixir lead, and I know I do because he's been freezing pretty badly. I know I can just pressure him and win out by fireballing and possibly getting a hog through. So I just fireball preemptively and try to hit his defense, and or like his archers, and if it gets through, then it gets through. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. So here I just do the same thing. I rush the elite barbs. They help take out the Tesla. He doesn't defend perfectly because he doesn't have his ice golem up. So, oh yeah, and also to defend there, and then my archers actually end up getting through. To defend there perfectly and to keep his elite barbs from taking out the Tesla, he has to throw down Ice Golem, but if he throws down Ice Golem, he doesn't have it for an offensive push. And if he uses Ice Golem for an offensive push, he doesn't have it for the elite barbs. So that's the only reason I rush to the elite barbs. You typically don't want to do that. You typically want to defend with them first, but I know that he has no other way to stop it other than Tesla and Skeleton Army, which I can zap Tesla and I already have a hog going with them. So that's why I decided it was rushed there. So if you know like what your opponent has to do to counter and that they don't have counters, that's the only time you want to rush the elite barbs. You don't want to start off a match by rushing with them, and you don't want to just use that as a main offensive push like you would with hog. You only want to do it if you have knowledge of how to beat them. And I'm gonna be showing 4 matches. All these. The next ones are the Royal Giant and the most recent match. But here I'll show Lava Hound. This game was actually a little bit closer than it should have been. I messed up a little bit. So here I just put the elite barbs in the typical spot you use to stop the miner, and I actually got that. Actually wasn't a terrible lightning from him, because I mean you got elite barbs plus tower. It's a 6 for 6, and they pretty much are gonna die when you defend. So. Because they're so low. It wouldn't be a good move in a double elixir, I don't think. But it wasn't too bad there. I did get an elixir lead though, because he had to waste the tombstone at the end there to defend. Or not waste, he needed to do it. But yeah, so I'm looking to cycle quickly here and go on the offense. Go offensive. Because I know he doesn't have a fireball because he has lightning. So that's why I rushed with minions, and unfortunately my zap was late. If it had been a little bit more in time, that may have been a better push. And at this point I know he's either minor control or he's lava hound, so I wasn't too worried about a counter push there because he had to use minor to defend, so that wasn't too bad for me. Oh, so here's something here. I know you guys don't like me pausing all the time, but something that's really important here is something you can do, and with minions you just place them in the middle, but when you have archers you can split them, especially when you know they have tombstone to defend because it's so squishy. You put down Ice Golem and you let it get far enough that it starts tanking tower, or I mean it typically does that, but you don't want your hog to ever tank tower by him putting tombstone in the middle of the lord. But so I do this, and then I split the archers, and if you watch the archer on the left, even though there's a log on the right side, the archer on the left helps take out the tombstone, and that actually finishes the tombstone along with the hog fast enough for the Ice Golem to kill the tombstone skeleton, so I don't have to zap. And that gave me a very decent amount of damage on that push, and I'm still up in elixir because he had to panic to defend. So I think this is, do I end up fireballing? Yeah, it's a decent fireball because I didn't really have anything else in hand. I don't have my hound, I mean my hog in hand to rush. And here he's trying to set up his Lava Hound. And when he plays Lava Hound, you obviously want to pressure immediately, so I'm going to go opposite lane with Hog. I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. And instead of defending the way he did last time, he decided to Lightning, which isn't... I mean, I still got 2 Hog hits, and Lightning's expensive, so that's fine. The mistake I did make here was the Ice Golem. The Ice Golem should have been closer to the Mega Minion. Because that Mega Minion finished off my minions, I ended up having to fireball early, and because I fireballed early, his pups ended up getting a lot of damage. And I ended up having to zap them as well. That's actually funny. My zap has never killed pups before, but it is a max common now. But anyway, that ice golem nearly cost me the game because I ended up taking so much extra damage. Like I probably took like 300 extra damage, 400 extra damage. And at this point, this guy has like really high level spells. I think he has a level 3 log and like a level 6 lightning. Well, not like super high, but yeah. And then that log actually was just so unfortunate for me because it knocked the hog into the other lane, and I don't need damage on the other lane. So here he's trying to spell cycle, but unfortunately for him, his spells don't do enough damage, and my hog push in here will get the tower. But I know his miner is coming up in rotation, so I go ahead and throw down an Ice Spirit, and the Ice Spirit stuns it before it can get a hit off, and my push makes it. So I had tower disadvantage, and he had slight level advantage in that game. His minions are 1 level below mine, but he has pretty high level legendaries. Like I only have level 2 legendaries. But it was other than his king tower being, yeah, his king towers, his towers being a higher level, it was pretty close. So I show the balloon deck, and then now I'll show the maxed Royal Giant, max commons that everyone hates to play against on ladder. Something that annoys me at times, but so this guy has the max barbs, the maxed minions, the max Royal Giant, and this is something people often play against on ladder. So I'll show you how to beat it. He starts Ice Wizard at the back. Ice Wizard, right off the start, when someone plays Ice Wizard, you should assume they're playing Royal Giant, which is what I did, because Ice Wizard really isn't used that much anymore, but it is used in Royal Giant decks. He put the minions in the same lane there, so I decide to Fireball, and then he uses Ice Golem to set up for Elite Barbs. I didn't have my Elite Barbs out quite in time, so I decided to lure his Elite Barbs back in with Ice Spirit. And then his zap was kind of wasted there. Even if I hadn't put down archers, it wouldn't have done much. The reason I did decide to split archers, though, was to kill him faster and to help take out that Ice Wizard, like you can see on the right side. And then since that archer survived, I decided to put a hog in behind it. He's trying to scramble to defend as fast as he can. Oh, and something that, and obviously I got hog hits and tons of damage. Instead of playing the minions on the barbs earlier, I waited until they crossed the river, because if you see in his hand, he actually has his own minions. So if I had played them too early, he would have been able to minion himself, and then those barbs would have got the tower. So I decided to wait until they were like pretty close to my tower, and I just Ice Spirit, and that brings them in, and that keeps them from doing any damage. And his Fireball pretty much just, I mean, my minions already got value, so that doesn't really hurt me at all that he played Fireball, and I still have like a 1 elixir lead, and I've got more tower damage than him. So he plays Royal Giant at the back, so I decide to instantly rush, like you should always do when people play it at the back. It would be, maybe it could be possibly more scary if he plays it at the front, but if he plays it at the front, I can just defend quickly and then rush after I defend, so it's pretty much the same either way. His Royal Giant actually doesn't get any hits off, because as soon as I get the elixir after my hog push, I decide to throw Elite Barbs down, and they're able to take it down early. I don't really care if they take tower shots. I just need them to kill the Royal Giant before he gets a tower. And then keep up the pressure constantly. I know he has I know he has barbs, and his Elite Barbs out of rotation. He didn't get them up until just now. So I Fireball Zap, take out the barbs so that my hog gets a couple hits in. And then at this point, all I need to do is spell cycle, so I'm just going to defend. He should really stop offensively pushing with his Elite Barbs. Like I said, you shouldn't do that, especially when I have so many counters available. So here I throw down Ice Golem to occupy anything he puts down behind the Royal Giant, and then I put both my other support troops down, and they take out the Royal Giant relatively quickly. And then I know once again his Elite Barbs they cost more for one, and he just used a bunch of elixir, so I have the Fireball ready in case he decides to use his barbs, and I'm able to get through there. And I think he got a little bit angry at the end of that match. So there's the Royal Giant player down, and then we'll end this with one more replay against Graveyard. I will say that this guy, I was beating him really badly, and then I started getting a little bit stupid. Like 90% of this match, I played very well, and that's the point. That's the part I want you to take away from. So he plays Tombstone on the left side, and that's hog pushable. So I get ready. How you do this? I'm sure most of you already know this, but how you hog push like that with an Ice Spirit is you click the Ice Spirit, and you put your finger on the very farthest corner on your side of the bridge, like where I placed him. And then at the same time, you take your other hand, you select the hog, and then you quickly double tap with your right hand, or the one that is holding the ice spirit, and then it'll play the ice spirit first, and then the hog will spawn on top of it, and the hog will get pushed in front, and it'll make the hog not run to the tombstone. And then the ice spirit will obviously help the hog as well. So that's how I got through there, and then I zapped to get rid of the skeleton army, and that hog got a solid 3 hits in, and that's a really big deal. Sorry if I've been sniffling a little bit too. I'm still a little bit sick, but I feel pretty good. A lot better than I did in previous days. So here he gives me a fireball value, and then this deck is also really good at countering graveyard because it has both minions and archers, which are 2 really good graveyard counters. I maybe should have ice spirited, but I really wanted to save it for the hog. I probably should have played ice spirit, but he's in the same rotation, so once again he's probably going to play tombstone in the middle, and I know that, so I kind of wanted to save. So like I said, you typically don't want to play elite barbs at the river, but knowing that his primary defenses are to stop them are tombstone and skeleton army, he actually would have been better off playing ice golem, but he needs ice golem to go offensive because this is kind of the same concept as the balloon. You use it for offensive pushes, so he tries to save it. But I know that if I play elite barbs, he's gonna have to play either tombstone or skeleton army, or both, and I can zap either one to make him play the second one, and he actually plays both preemptively. He should have waited a little bit longer before he played it, but I can zap here, and then the zap was not the best, and then that takes out both of his hog defenses, and I know that when he does that I can instantly hog push the other side, and that allows me to get in at least like 2 hog hits because he doesn't have a defense to lure the hog anymore. And I take a minion hit there, but it's not the end of the world because my hog once again gets 3 hits off. And 3 hits and 2 pushes is really nice. Like I got 3 in both. And I've also got a slight elixir lead because he had to defend those elite barbs pretty offensively. And then those archers end up going to waste because they're in the opposite lane, so it doesn't really do anything for him. So here I just play the elite barbs to quickly take out his tank because I'm assuming at this point that he probably has fireball, and he does. And here I use my archers and he fireballs and he graveyards, and then I just defend with ice spirit. And at all that time I'm getting a massive elixir lead because my defense is a lot cheaper than his offense, and I have a counter push going on at the same time. And his fireball is kind of greedy there because he didn't have enough elixir to defend correctly afterwards, and I could have zapped as well if I had to. And here I actually preemptively fireball because I know that he's about to play tombstone in the middle of the lure him, and he already has archers right next to that. He didn't space his troops out very well, and I played magnificently up to this point. And then here's what I get stupid. Instead of defending like I should, I go for the 3 crown because I'm greedy, and I nearly lose the game because I go for the 3 crown. And I actually decided to offensively zap his skeletons instead of zapping the skeletons that are almost taking my king tower, which is pretty dumb. So don't follow my footsteps in that. And then I nearly lose the game. I knew I could rotate to zap and that would end the game. That's why I fireballed offensively. But I was so stupid in that match. Like, I deserved to lose, even though he had a higher king tower. And like, yeah, especially because he had a higher king tower because he has more HP. I was so stupid there, but it still turned out all right. And I'm glad that I was still able to win. But the first 2 where I was up 2-0, that was like the correct way to play that matchup. And then I kind of got a little bit dumb there at the end, but I ended up winning still, so that's nice. I really like the array of matches I had here. It covered a bunch of different play styles and a bunch of different decks that you'll face on ladder. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be shooting for like 5,200 at least this season, and I guess eventually when my account gets maxed from all these grand challenges, I'll be able to compete at the top of the ladder. Or if I get sponsored, but who knows. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you next video.